A new king has been crowned. All hail to the king. Sony A95L QD-OLED Master Series. Up next.
I've seen things people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me as we discuss the Sony A95L QD-OLED Master Series, which has recently been crowned King of TVs at the Value Electronics 2023 TV Shootout. Now, the competition was amazing and the competition was fierce as the A95L went against its closest competitors, the LG G3 with MLA technology and the Samsung S95C QD OLED. But at the end of the day, it wasn't really close as the A95L was clearly the winner. Now, there's a lot of talk of the fix is in. Well, keep in mind, LG won 5 years in a row during the Value Electronics TV shootouts of the past. Sony has won recently, and this year it truly deserved to win as it is a clear step up. Now, you cannot judge this TV unless you see it in person. It's not just the criteria that the shootout has where you think if this was different or that was different. This TV, having spent time with not only one out of the box, but one that won the shootout, which is what you're going to see in the video, this TV beats everything everywhere. It really is that good, and it's the best TV Sony has ever produced, whether it's an OLED or an LED. Without further ado, the Sony A95L QD-OLED Master Series. All right, guys, we'll be looking at two different A95Ls today. This one has recently been unboxed. It is uncalibrated and recently put on the wall at Value Electronics. Here is the champion, the winner of the actual shootout. Checking out the back of the design, you see the Bravia cam. It also has the speaker connections of all Master Series. That's what sets Master Series apart, other than the calibration in the factory. You have your 4 HDMI ports, only 2 of them are HDMI 2.1. Stand is more simplistic. The 77-inch has 3 different positions. The 55 and 65 have 2 different positions. Has a more simplistic, minimalist, while elegant design. Very different than last year's A95K, though I did like the A95K quite a bit. The stand was bulky, the TV was very heavy. As we check out the other A95L off in the distance. Keep in mind, this is in a very bright room through a lot of this review. And the TV stands up perfect. It has a 3-dimensionality that I have never seen. It seems to hover in midair, which a lot of OLEDs do. They've always had that strength, but the A95L is just on another level. It feels 3-dimensional as we look at the Bravia cam in daylight, not just in the dark. Looking at the remote, it's the same as the other remotes, very simplistic brush metal. This one is backlit. As we take a quick look at the first difference you can see from anything else in its lineup this year, the UI is have these different panels that I do like quite a bit. Sony really needed to change that. Unfortunately, it's not on the other 2023 models, and the A95L feels like a 2024 TV. As we look at the backlit remote, it is very bright, does stand out. I want to be able to show you that as it was darker later on. Love the design. Much more simplistic. It is lighter, but still feels premium. Now, jumping right into our first piece of content from good friend Jennifer Gala and her second channel, HCR Super Channel. I love wandering around the store and shooting the display in a bright room from all angles. And again, the Sony A95L literally hangs in midair. It just has a 3-dimensionality that I have never seen before. Looks great from every angle, from far away. And for a TV to stand out in a store like this, where there's TVs that are 98 inches and 100 inches, and there's 8K TVs, a TV this small to still take the room says a lot about it. Very colorful, very vibrant while being accurate. Now, the majority of the scenes you will see here are still in a calibrated mode. Calibration is their custom 1, custom 2. The TV is that vibrant, that saturated, while being that accurate that I never really felt the need to wander out of those presets. However, I did for you guys, but typically when it comes to Sony TVs, I do like to show the flexibility of image. However, I've never been more pleased with an accurate yet vibrant image on any TV I've ever filmed. I will let you know when we wander outside of the 2 Calibrated TV presets. The rest of them are untouched, being standard, professional, calm, and vivid. So detailed. Again, clarity, three-dimensionality is what you're going to hear throughout this video. Now, I always felt like the processing of Sony set it apart. I do feel LG especially caught up in the last few years. They have now separated themselves yet again. Check out the saturation and the color and the motion throughout this demo material. This is in a calibrated preset. Right now we're in calibrated day because we are in a brighter room. Now the differences between the calibrated day and calibrated night really seems more rich, a change in color more than the brightness. So detailed, again, saturated while being true to the source material. And I predicted Sony would make a huge jump this year in the beginning of the year. I predicted the TV would be much brighter and much more colorful, and then didn't think they would come through. They released very late in the year, which is why it feels like a 2024 TV. But the color, the vibrancy, while being accurate, is definitely next level over the previous A95K, which is also a phenomenal TV. Now, Sony's signature of accuracy and director's intent is still intact here. However, I would argue that they have given you much more flexibility of image. You will see later when I wander out of the 2 calibrated presets, which are accurate and calibrated for the shootout, how much the image changes. And it's actually a bit too much. Even features like live color, which I do love in certain content, high is almost too strong. You need to be at low or medium. I love seeing that. I love being able to take this TV and make it your own. Now, the perceptual brightness of a lot of these OLEDs throughout the years have been due to micro contrast, them not being quite as bright. Well, they are now very bright. And that perceptual brightness almost makes it seem brighter than something like a Z9K. Now, that is impossible. However, standing up in this room with a TV this bright that has that micro contrast does make it seem so much brighter than it is. And I think after this year in regards to QD-OLED, we should stop chasing the brightness. It's not needed. The TV is bright enough. The reflection handling is very good. Just keep working on the processing and color, and it really is unbelievable how colorful and clear the TV is. Admittedly, it was actually a little boring to film simply because usually I'm wandering in and out of every preset there is, which I will do for you guys. However, it looks so good in these 2 calibrated presets, I didn't feel the need to wander outside. It really looked that good almost all the time. Now, the transitions are so important, coming out of black or near black, and it handles it flawless. And even though it has these tremendous blacks, the shadow detail is always intact. And I can't believe this many years later, we're looking at OLEDs that are this bright, whether it's the MLA LG G3 or the Samsung QN9 or S95C or S90C. Look at the motion here. And that's with the motion processing through calibration, and it's flawless. And a lot of these demos are fast pans or slow pans, and it handles it amazingly. But the transitions, gorgeous. Screen uniformity is perfect. Very, very clean panel, which is typical of Master Series. Now, quickly, I'm fairly certain Sony doesn't call these Master Series anymore. They may have retired that name last year. However, I will continue to call them a Master Series. Again, check the motion here and this transition. Now, anything you see on the TV is the glare from over my shoulder. But what a beautiful TV. Now, striking that balance, as I mentioned, from accurate to saturated is so difficult. And they handle it so well. I'm not a fan of filmmaker mode. I'm not a fan of those most accurate presets when the content doesn't call for it. An older film, something with a very strong grain structure, I think benefits from a filmmaker mode. But typically I find them very dull on most TVs. The custom preset that used to be on here, which I think has been replaced by professional, was always still very good, but still felt very stripped away compared to the other presets. Not so here, as you'll see me run into professional and the other presets shortly. Again, checking out our good friend Jennifer's content and show you the differences in the UI here. It has finally changed, which is why the TV feels like, again, it's a 2024 model. And the HDR impact is really there. They are bright enough and colorful enough. As we look at our first differences, again, in the UI, black and white versus the light blue that we've had for so many years. And again, you can simplify this and edit and option it out and make this much more clean and simplistic if you like. Now, this is also a little bit simpler. I do like the pictures are more detailed as we go through the different presets. Your standard preset is here, your vivid preset. Going through the different presets, you can see how they change the image. I will repeat this for you guys, but I want to go through the different settings. I would say that I would like the gradation preferred and brightness preferred to have a bit more of a difference in impact, the way something like the A80J did. Perhaps they are bright enough. I'll also show you that in the gaming portion. But very beautiful, again, very saturated, and you can make it look however you like, which is so important. When Sony had that signature of accuracy, that was something not everybody wanted or liked. This TV has something for everyone. It can look as crazy as you want it. It can look as saturated as you want as we go through what replaced the custom preset, which even then, look at the saturation. It can almost be too much. Now, this is a very saturated image. And I'm going to leave it in standard for you guys here to show you how saturated and how colorful it can look. Typically, I would like an image closer to this. It's almost too, well, it really is too much. So I'll go in and I'll back off the live color. But I always want to be able to show you guys what you can do with your TVs. These are yours. There is no authority to tell you what is right, what is wrong. It's really what you want once you purchase it. Again, the motion is so smooth. Again, showing you the different presets. And I like that you don't have to click into each one to see the change. So you don't have to click it, back out, click it, and back in. And there's the two different presets, custom 1 and 2, day and night. And there's how it should look. And still saturated, still colorful, still so detailed. Now, while I'm not showing you low bitrate content, it is excellent at it. Watch several movies that I can't show you due to copyright and YouTube TV. With sports, it is phenomenal at upscaling. Sony is the best this year at that with the XR Clear, which is present on the X90L, X95L, A80L, A75L, and now the A95L. And that's a much more accurate yet still colorful and beautiful image. I love these transitions. The greens are natural, but look at the pop, the three-dimensionality, while being in an accurate preset. So those of you that know me, I love to wander and jump around the presets. It was not necessary. It made filming this kind of boring, actually, because I was able to stay in these two presets and really enjoyed it. Now, as we jump into some very fast motion, no problems, no artifacting at all. No hitching. But so clear. I left this video long simply because I think you guys need to see it, though you do need to see this TV in person. Now, it is true, YouTube can't always give you the best representation, but those of you that have not seen this TV need to find a way to go see it in person. As I mentioned in the shootout, LG had won 5 years in a row, and Sony has won most recently. And they have deserved to win, but they were very close. This year, I thought, was a clear winner with the A95L. Again, movement, saturation, clarity, three-dimensionality. All while still being in the calibrated mode. Look how detailed this is. Again, we're going to jump into some different presets for you guys. That's why I leave these videos long. For those of you that are here in the live chat, love you guys. Thank you so much for sitting and watching the premiere, which is why I leave these long. Now here, I'll take a very saturated image and I want to jump around. I'll pause it in a second and show you how it can almost be too much. Let's pause it here. Look how it jumps off the screen. Now that's too much, and that's too much. But now going into standard, which is what the TV ships in, by the way, and backing off something like live color, which a lot of you guys like, just to medium makes all the difference in the world. It gives you the pop, gives you the saturation. And then back here in the calibrated mode, it still looks extraordinary. Now, I have no favoritism or brand loyalty, not at all, but this is probably the best TV I have ever seen. My favorite TV in the last number of years has been the Z series from LG, from the ZX to the Z9 to the Z2. No Z3 this year, but this TV I think beats everything, and it beats it everywhere. Look at that. Unbelievable. Again, we'll go through the presets and show you the quality and the difference in headroom that the A95L has. The term I use is flexibility of image. How can this image look different for your personal tastes? Now going into the presets. Look at that. So it's taken a page out of other manufacturers' book while still remaining true to itself. And in movies, same thing. Even in those calibrated modes, things can still look bright, vibrant, and three-dimensional. And then you can put them into these very saturated, over-the-top modes. Much more headroom this year. I think Sony wanted to come out all guns blazing. As we look at SDR to see if the brightness drops, it does not. Still very saturated, still very beautiful. And again, the upscaling this year is on another level. Now, there was talk during the shootout, which I do agree is, Sony obviously came out very late in the year. Was that more time in the oven? Was that more time to hone their skills, to see how everyone else had their products out? Could be. The only drawback is it does release later in the year. It is more expensive than the competition. But I would tell you this, if you buy the A95L, you are all set for many, many years. There would be very little reason to upgrade from this, other than going up in size. And the fact that it has the new UI, has all that different, everything in 2024 coming from Sony will mirror this TV versus surpass it. I don't know if there will be another A95 next year. I would imagine there would be, but it released so late in the year, they may not. Now, the Sony tax, we discussed that. They do buy their panels from other manufacturers. The QD-OLED is from Samsung Displays. They do release later in the year. The audio is very good on it, which I'll show you shortly. But the SDR image, again, no need to leave the calibrated preset. I've never seen a TV strike that balance between accuracy and vibrancy before. And because of the clarity, if I was to say this was an 8K TV, I would believe it. If someone was to tell me, and I did see 8K footage on 8K displays during the shootout with the Z2, Z9K, and 900C. Now, for you Vivid guys, we're going to jump in, and it is very bright and very punchy. And for those of you that love that vibrant, vivid mode, Sony is more of an option than ever. It can do it all. You can now look at Sony to cover all the bases versus being stuck with something that is director's intent based. They still retain that signature, but they have really wandered outside of their comfort zone to bring you a very vibrant image on an OLED. The main critique of OLEDs of the past, the A9G, very good for movies, but not good for everything else. Not bright enough. That is over. This is why competition is so important. Why Samsung leading the way with the S95B from last year. The A95K to me was better, but was it much better? They really worked at it this year. They knew the G3 MLA was going to be there. They knew what they had to bring. And they brought it. Even gaming has been improved, which I'll show you later in the video. The one thing that does disappoint me is I wish they had brought this to the entire Sony lineup, whether it's the UI and even the gaming that they added. But look at how clear that is and beautiful that is. And yes, these are all high-end demos. I will not risk my channel showing you copyright material, no matter how much I speed it up or slow it down. Going into the music portion of this, or the audio portion of this, again, special thank you to Jennifer Gala and the HCR Super Channel. I will show you the different presets. As we wander into the sound part of it, please turn up your volume. As I show you the different ways to customize the sound. A lot of flexibility here. Also, the ability to use the A95L as the center channel. Sound coming directly from the TV. All right, turn up the volume now. Excellent audio, definitely top 3 audio of the TVs I have reviewed this year. Except keep in mind, those other TVs are massive mini LEDs that are very thick. That was from an OLED. Quickly looking at the new Street Fighter, we are in the game mode. What I love about this off the bat, before I even show you the game bar, is again, very saturated, very vibrant. Now it's actually more saturated on camera than it is in person. It has a more realistic look to it. But what surprised me right off the bat were the different gaming presets. There are 3, which is what I've wanted from Sony. Give me the ability to change the image, not just alter it within the presets. Give me a few different presets, and they've done that here. And they do look very different from each other. Now, Samsung has more, and so does LG, but I love seeing this here. Again, same thing as I mentioned before. I'd love to see a difference between brightness and preferred and gradients preferred. Reality creation is excellent. I've never really used it a whole lot, as it used to add some aliasing. It doesn't do that now. You can max it to clean up the image. Now we're going over gaming pretty quickly, as I will return with a PC to really put it through its paces. But very happy with the game mode. More happy with this game mode than I am for the rest of the Sony lineup this year. Though the Sony lineups on all their TVs this year, the game mode does look very good. However, those are typically LEDs. Hard to change the presets to make them look much different because of the local dimming, which is enabled, but changes the flexibility. Move into Horizon Forbidden West. Again, very bright, very detailed. Sony's one of the few companies that keeps smooth gradation in place, which helps with banding, though I saw no banding in the or on the A95L at all. Now the game bar itself is still very basic. It's anemic compared to the others. But for me, the presets, we hit that menu button, and there's the game bar. And the information below that. Now, as far as VRR changing the image, it didn't hurt the image. But very impressed with the gaming. Now, it's been lazy in the past to say that you can't game on a Sony. I've never said that, but I have alluded it's not the best gaming option. Typically because of the options, the ability to change the image, not to mention not having 1440p, which it still doesn't have. But the flexibility of image has been the biggest drawback, which they have rectified this year with a few extra presets. And the motion and response time is ridiculous. The game feels so quick and responsive. Again, the game bar needs to have more features, and I'm sure they'll build upon that. They may actually build upon that with a update as well. But it is showing you what 2024 is going to deliver next year. Now moving into some SDR gaming. Still very colorful. The brightness does not diminish. Didn't feel the need to go into the game preset and change the image. Even with a game that is less colorful, has great movement. I love the art design of the Guilty Gear franchise. As we move into a Marvel title here, very colorful, excellent movement. And overall, just so happy with this TV. What are the drawbacks? Biggest drawback is there's no 83. It's very expensive as it released later in the year, but I will tell you that it's worth it. I would pay the Sony tax over the LG G3 or the S95C. To me, the differences are worth it. And checking out Days Gone as our last demo. So for me, in closing, again, A95L is beyond expectations. It deserves to be the new king of TVs. It is that good. It is worth all of the hype. Checking the presets here to show you the differences in a more accurate, less colorful game. All right, guys, I am Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to Value Electronics. Take care.